Hi, everybody. It's Mike from Here the Watchman, and today we're starting our weekly report where we're going to have Washington insider Larry Nichols talk about what's going on, give you a quick briefing on what's happening and what you need to look out for. We're going to do our best. We have to pay attention to Larry's health. He's not healthy. He's struggling right now, but he's doing everything he can to keep coming on. And he's going to come on Monday through Friday to give you a briefing on what's going on. And then in the next week or so, we are going to have basically a call to action show where we really get into what we can all do to turn the tides of what's happening within our government right now and the witch hunt for Donald Trump, evidenced further today by this just Looney Tune woman, Kathy Griffin, the comedian, who had an effigy of Trump, a real Trump-looking head who had been beheaded, and she was holding it up by the hair with blood all over it, exactly like the Muslim ISIS terrorists do in their reports and what they send to us. Way out of bounds, folks. Just another way for them to try to destroy President Donald Trump. So today we're going to have Larry just give an update for you. Larry, thank you so much for joining us. What do you have to tell us today?
Well, Mike, thank you for having me on. And this report, folks, is very important to me because it's a way, Mike, that I can kind of keep folks posted on what needs to be seen and what needs to be done. Now, withstanding what you talked about today, there's something that I try to do to kind of let people know where I stand. You know, I talk about the media. The media has played all the way in. There's no way that it can be called off now. I mean, if there's nothing that could happen, Mike, I hope you agree that if everything went back to normal, there's no way the media, mainstream media, could ever reclaim the title of an honest broker of information. Would you agree?
I totally agree, Larry.
So therefore, folks, I hope those of you that are concerned about our country, I hope you look at that and realize they're playing for it all. It's all or nothing for the media. The Democrats, the Republicans, they've done the same. They did it in their primaries and in this election season. There's no way the Democrats can go back today after Hillary and Bernie Sanders. There's no way they can go back and claim that their primaries are fair. Republicans, no way they can go back and claim primaries are fair, that they're a fair party that wants other people in. Not after the way they hoodwinked and rigged Trump, but he still won, but they tried. But there's one item left when you're trying to connect the dots that at first makes no sense, Mike, and that is why, for the first time in history that I have seen, there's a president that just left office, set up an office, a shadow office, shadow government, whatever you want to call it, about 3 or 4 blocks away from the White House, to dog the president. Have you ever seen that?
I've never seen it. You know, when I talked with earlier today, Larry, we did an interview with Pastor James David Manning, who he's just he's got a lot to say, and he calls Obama the long-legged nap daddy of a president, and it's just disgusting what's going on. But you're right. When in history has that ever happened?
Well, let's look at the events. And let's look at the possibility, guys. And I'm telling you this as a possibility, so I don't want anybody going out saying what they heard here, Larry Nichols said as fact. Larry did it. What I'm doing is I'm trying to give you some ammunition. So as you talk to other people, These are things I want them to think about. Number one, when they impeach Trump, as I have told you they will do, sometime in the next 6 months, they're going to impeach him. Now, let's get something straight about that. Impeachment does not mean in 6 months Trump will be out of office. That's not what I am saying at all. I'm saying that they will start the process of impeachment. And the best way to look at an impeachment, folks, look at the criminal side of it. It's a grand jury. The House is the grand jury. They look at it and see if there's enough evidence to do a trial to have Trump impeached. Once they start the impeachment process, I've already told y'all, Soros's anarchist people, the middle of June, go into training for training the trainers of how to go out and protest at these town hall meetings. They're us. To riot and make out like they're the conservative Christian community. Why? What on earth? Well, so now let's see, Mike, doing something no other president's done. You've got the people that the anarchists going out and they're training, but not to protest and protest as the conservatives. What on earth is going on? Well, you have to understand the impeachment process. When Trump gets impeached, and when they start the anarchists protesting, rioting, what they're in a position to do, if they choose to, they're in a position to call for, Mike, a constitutional crisis. Constitutional crisis. Now, I have told you about a theme of provisional government for years now. That was based off of Obama being president or Hillary going to be president. That didn't happen. So they have to have a way to create this new government, take us, but they're not going to be able to do it under the automatic proviso to have under Obama or Hillary. By that I mean, if provisional government plan that's triggered with 5 major riots automatically, that means Pence becomes king, not one of them. So what they're going to do, or what it looks like they're setting up to do, is this. Declare a constitutional crisis. Congress declares a constitutional crisis because of the disarray, the rioting, Trump having been impeached, therefore nothing in his agenda can, or even attempted. Everything in this country jams up. So here goes Congress, both houses. They go into session and they say, look, we're in a crisis moment. We're going to have to set up a temporary government until we get through this constitutional crisis. It'll be limited and it will be temporary. But we all know what limited and temporary means in Washington speak. That means it covers everything and it don't go away. But then they say, now, here we are in this crisis moment. And you know what, Mike, I fear, look, we can't afford this temporary government, this emergency government, with someone leading us that has no experience with world leaders, no experience with world matters. So what I fear they're setting up is to go and draft Obama to come back in and be that temporary president.
Well, that, Larry, would be the decline of Western civilization, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, it has already If that is what they're doing, imposing this as something for everyone to look at, I do not want to be a conspiracy nut throwing voodoo stuff out there and getting everybody all hooked up. What I'm trying to do, Mike, is make everybody sensitive to the patterns that are establishing out there. They're up to something. It's a lot more orchestrated. It's a lot more sinister than just impeaching Trump. They want to change our form of government. They want to take us, turn us from a representative republic form of government into like I want to call it like a communist-based central committee form of government, where there's this limited group of people, this elitist crowd. I think they are the elitist, and they want to rule because the rest of us are nothings. Nothing. And it's this possibility that if all of y'all listening to me right now would, if you just look at what I've told you today and think about what I've told you, listen to this program over and over again until you understand what I'm saying, think about it. I mean, you tell me, Mike, do these dots not scare you a little bit?
Well, Larry, what we're doing here is trying to connect the dots. And let me tell you folks how absolutely frightening this is and what's going on right now. You know that I had a wonderful conversation with Mr. Anthony Patch this weekend in Dallas. And we were talking about the mainstream media, the disinformation that goes out. And we were talking about what the liberal agenda does. And do you know that there is a famous story by Plato, and I'm sure I'll get a million emails after mentioning the name Plato telling me that I'm off my rocker and that he was a Satanist or something like that. But just listen to this, folks, because this is what they're doing to try and dumb us up when it's in regards to the president and their voice. Plato tells a story about a group of people that lived in a cave, and they were facing one direction towards a wall in the cave. The only thing that they knew in life for years and years and years and years was the fire behind them reflecting on the wall, watching that fire dance. To them, that was the world. Along the way, after years and years of this, their captors came and said, okay, you guys can be free. But they didn't want to go free because the only world they knew was looking at that wall in that cave and watching those flames dance on that wall. And that's what they're trying to do to us. They're trying to shove one story, one voice down our throats so you'll be afraid to look at the truth. And what we're going to try and do in this series with Larry here is we're going to try and expose the truth and give you the information that you truly. So, Larry.
Now, Mike, let me say, and this was running a little over, but this is pretty intense what we're talking about. But folks, please. What I'm telling you today seems far-fetched, Mike. I know it does. And many of you are sitting there saying, but yeah, you just pulled this out of thin air. No, I did not. No, I did not. And what I'm telling y'all today is going to be very important to you in 2 to 3 months. More important than you can imagine. But remember, Mike, how things develop by connecting the dots. Agreed?
Agreed.
What, in a couple of 3 months, we find out that those were not just random dots that got connected. It was there. And it was there the whole time for us to see, but we didn't see it. I'm trying to make sure you see what's coming around the corner and why this program is so important, and why we have to be engaged. You have to. You have to get up. You have to work. You've got to try. You can't let it go. You just can't, or we're going to lose it all.
Well, Larry, I want to thank you for joining us today. Folks, this is the first installment of the Nichols Report. You want to tune in daily. What you want to do is subscribe to our channel, click the little bell at the top of the YouTube page so that you'll be alerted of Larry's reports each day. We try to do them at a regular time in the morning, but both of us have a lot going on in our lives, and sometimes we have to post it a little later in the day. But pay attention, be informed, and don't be afraid. Larry, again, thank you for joining us today.
Well, one last thing, may I say, folks, you can also go to LarryNichols.us, and I will be putting up a slip there as well. But folks, gather up, please gather up. And Mike, I wish people would look at getting the book 28, because what you're going to find when you read that book, I don't mean this to sound like I'm promoting the book, forgive me, because that's what it sounds like. The book, because in the book, looking at when it was written, what I tell you is happening in there is happening now.
How to get Larry's book, 28 Years to Nowhere. I've read it. John B. Wells was offering it at the Hear the Watchman conference in Dallas, absolutely free of charge, when you purchase a subscription to Caravan to Midnight. And do you know that I've had at least 50 people contact me and say, once I started reading it, I couldn't put it down. That's LarryNichols.us. And I also believe you have a website for the book, Larry. It's 28yearstoNowhere.com. Go
yes, there. or you can go to just Larry Nichols Books.
Larry,
in case people get 28 years.
LarryNicholsBooks.com. Go there, check it out. We'll be back tomorrow with another edition of the Nichols Report for all of you. Like I said, tune in, get the truth, and you'll no longer be afraid. Until we see you tomorrow, God bless each and every one of you. Please subscribe to our channel. We need your support. Support Larry Nichols and support all our other guests. Don't forget, the Hear the Watchman Conference, Signs in the Heavenlies, the Redemption Convention, Boise, Idaho, August 18th through 21st. Get your tickets now. Reserve your hotel room now. We are running out of tickets and we are running out of hotel rooms. Go to hearthewatchmen.com. Get on board with us. This conference will change your life. So God bless y'all. We'll see you tomorrow on another edition of the Nichols Report.